Hey guys, it's Yorkie here and welcome back to some Project Cars gameplay. This time around we're going to be racing against the AI once again. We're in a Mercedes SLS GT3 and GT3 race around Hockenheim. We've got 8 laps and as you can see we're just going into a rolling start. The green flag has just dropped, coming out the last corner. There's a little bit of contact between that rough and the R8 there. Getting caught up behind this red R8 as I look over, using the track AR, looking into that side mirror there, moving to the outside, trying to go around the outside into turn 1. Braking fairly late and now braking myself ever so slightly, giving him plenty of room on the inside. I know he's still there somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure. There he is in the rearview mirror. So it looks like we've gained a place and now attacking the car up ahead. Coming down into turn 2, it looks like he's braked a little bit later than I have and managed to defend the position, giving me plenty of room on the inside, whilst also trying to obviously maintain his own speed and momentum. But he looked like he braked there on the exit of turn 3, which is a little bit odd. I'm not entirely sure why he did that. But that's now gifted me P8. I started in P13, so I've gained 5 places already. Using the mighty power of this SLS GT3, we've managed to zip past the BMW Z4 GT3 up into P7. And as you can see, he's there in the rearview mirror. Did get pretty close in the braking zone and they hair in there, but it looks like he didn't have a great exit. So that's given me plenty of breathing room to now focus up on the kind of this fluorescent yellowy coloured rough that's up ahead of me, who hasn't had a good right hand kick just there. Hooking up this corner quite nicely, keeping the gap fairly close and just trying to keep the momentum up, trying to keep a nice smooth flowing line and just planning up ahead as to where I think I may be able to attack. Coming into the stadium section now, closing on him ever so slightly, using the exit curb, getting a little bit sideways but managing to keep the car pretty much fully in check. A little bit of counter steer, picking up the left-handed hairpin there, it's cambered quite nicely, quite well. He's going to take it to the way over the inside and bounced over the orange sausage curb on the inside there, which has lost him time right up underneath his rear bumper and under that rear wing. Getting a pretty good run coming out of this last corner. Slowly but surely starting to close the gap in the slipstream. Just pulling out a little bit, just seeing if there would be any opportunity. Not quite so much, but he's got a little bit deeper to turn 1. He's gone a little bit slow rejoining the track as well, bouncing over that curb, which has allowed me to slip up the inside into P2, although he is coming back now, trying to come down the outside, but still maintaining my position, holding the line on the inside, squeeze him out through the exit to secure P6. So upper place quite nicely there, taking advantage of a mistake from the AI, and that just really goes to show quite how diverse the AI is in this game. I've got it at about the same difficulty as it was in the previous AI race, so it's about 90%. A lot of the sub sliders on 100%, the couple of sliders on 95%, and then the aggression tone way down. But the overall difficulty is, like I said, on 90% in the slider. So yeah, getting a really good feel for how the AI works with its blocking, its passing, the little mistakes it makes, and just basically its racing ability. As you can see, the guy up ahead not taking a fantastic line and managing to close the gap quite significantly to him. He's a little bit slow coming into the stadium section as well. It's allowing me to get a good run out of this long right-hander. He's gone and blocked me coming into this hairpin. It's a little bit late of a blocking manoeuvre, but I just about managed to see it coming in time to lift off and avoid bumping into his rear bumper. As you can probably hear, coming off the accelerator ever so slightly just to avoid making any contact. Getting very close at times, right underneath that rear wing. This nose of this SLS is quite long, so I'm having to bear that in mind as I get a much better run than him. Coming out the final corner, coming down his inside into turn 1. Looks like I've got the move pretty much done, but he's coming back at me around the outside. It's taken to the slip road runoff area on the exit there, and he's actually, well, he's gained the position off track, which is a little bit cheeky, and I'm going to brake very late down his inside, trying to make a move back up. However, I've got that horribly wrong. That was a mistake of my own, and we've kind of traded paint. And although I gained the position initially, I have lost it back to the fluorescent coloured rough there as well. So yeah, the AI battling hard, trying to hang it on out there on the outside, but running wide. I was expecting him to be quite slow off rejoining the track, like the fluorescent rough was the previous lap, bouncing over that curb. I was expecting him to do exactly the same thing, but it took it a lot smoother. He managed to carry his momentum, and then a little bit of frustration. Braked a little bit too late, and now braked myself, and basically ran too deep into the corner, collecting him. So we're back into P6 as we hook up the curb there on the outside there, just kind of rubbing the geometry a little bit in a weird way. and running the curb on the exit there, which is kind of costing me time, getting a little bit sideways, bouncing the car unnecessarily and just making it very unstable and a little bit more difficult to drive momentarily. But now that I've got that breather behind me as well, I can focus on closing the gap to this fluorescent rough up ahead. Just trying to be smooth, but as I say that, you saw me getting a little bit sideways, the rear end getting a little bit loose, coming through that quick flick left and then flick right into just before the last two corners, a double right-hander basically, but managing to keep it in check. Just shy of the apex coming into turn 1, braked a little bit late, locked up the tyres ever so slightly as I started turning in, and just kind of caused me to understeer a little, and I'm hoping, as you've seen by now watching around me, if you haven't been too busy watching the action, you've probably taken a good look at the scenery around the track and noticed just how gorgeous Hockenheim looks in this current weather setting. It's on light clouds at the moment, and started the race at about 8 AM, basically Hockenheim time, so GMT +1, and yeah, it's fairly early in the morning, but it's producing some very nice long dark shadows, some great lighting and colour, some really nice saturation, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. The grandstand looks absolutely packed. Great turnout to see this GT3 race, and as you can see, closing up on this fluorescent yellow rough, who's also managed to close up on the dark grey, dark silver rough up ahead of him, so potential here to gain 2 places. Drop back ever so slightly, losing a little bit of momentum through the last section coming into the final sector, but now I'm just kind of sat watching what these two guys are doing, where their weak spots are, just planning up ahead, and I'm trying to make a move into the first corner, so I need to hook up the second to last corner quite nicely, which I've done, hooking up this last corner as well, which I've done, trying to maximise the speed coming out through the exit. It looks like a much better run than this rough that's now alongside me, challenging down his inside, braking as late as I dare to, and managing to make that move stick very nicely, cleanly, no contact whatsoever. Did try and hang it out on the outside there, but I did eke him out towards the outside curb, and he did back out, jumping over the curb ever so slightly and using that runoff area. So I've now secured P5, and it's all about focusing on the rough up ahead as I get a lot of oversteer, coming out through the exit of turn 3, having to come off the gas and try and correct the car, which has gone and cost me quite a bit of momentum, quite a bit of time coming down this straight down towards this right-handed hairpin, fairly tight. We're using first gear for this corner. Probably could use second. It's just nice to have the acceleration and the, you know, the higher revs there coming out through the exit. But yeah, the gap has increased quite significantly to that fluorescent rough behind. He's dropped back quite a bit. That's one thing I have noticed with the AI, unless you're kind of really struggling, once you've made the move and you start eking out a gap, the gap opens up quite significantly. They do drop back. It's almost as if they do give up. So I'm hoping that Slightly Mad Studios tweak them in this area as I run wide there into the stadium section, and just make them try and stick onto your rear bumper that a little bit harder and try and challenge the position back. Initially, when you make a move, they are good at trying to battle back. They'll try and hold it off on the inside or the outside, as you've seen in previous laps in this race. But once the move is pretty much done and dusted, that's kind of it. However, as you can see as well, certainly not afraid to try and pull a gap out to you, as kind of maintaining the gap to the silver rough up ahead of me, but beyond that the gaps are eking out and starting to spread. And we're coming into the latter part of this race now. I believe we're on about lap 6, so the condition of the tyres is becoming quite a big concern of mine. Obviously most of the races that I've done in the past have been either a 5 or a 6 lap race. I've done a couple of 10 lap races, but they've been in multiplayer, and I've kind of always been in a position where either I've settled for a position or I know I'm quite significantly faster than the other drivers, and either closing a gap to someone or pulling away in the lead, and that's just allowed me to go a little bit easier on the tyres, whereas this one, I've been pushing that quite hard pretty much throughout the entire duration of the race so far. As you can see, making a couple of mistakes here and there, This is just causing the tyres to heat up more and more and more. Obviously, just a little bit weary to the fact that my tyres may be starting to overheat and that I may start to lose grip, and obviously tyre wear will have an accelerated effect, especially with overheated tyres, as it causes the car to slide around a lot more. So trying to be a little bit smoother, trying to be a little bit more cautious, whilst also trying to push and actually close this gap to this dark grey rough that is up ahead of me. Gap is closing, slowly but surely. It's pretty hard to see, but he's certainly not pulling away, that's for sure. And this SLS has quite a bit more top speed than the rough wheel coming down this straight. As you can see, I'm going to put a massive amount of steering lock into turn 2 there to try and get it to bite and hook up to the apex. Even then it's still falling shy of that. So I need to be a little bit more mindful and braking a little bit earlier, just to make sure that I do get the corner hooked up quite nicely with the car. Just guide it in nice and smooth, hooking up that apex rather nicely, getting the exit pretty much nailed down as well. Very small amount of opposite lock to try and keep the rear end from sliding ever so slightly. And hopefully you just noticed just there, and also on the previous lap, the rough up ahead hasn't had a great time coming through that fast right-handed kick. Obviously, where this track is a clockwise circuit, it's going to be the left-hand side of the car, those tyres on the left-hand side that will be feeling the worst effects, gaining the most heat, as there are a lot more right-handers there are left, so obviously the car leans to the outside, leaning on the left, which puts more friction and more weight through those tyres, which causes them to heat up more and more. But that means obviously you don't quite have the grip in some of these right-handers as much as you would in the left-handers. So he looked like he was struggling through that right-hand king the last couple of times, and I'm starting to really struggle now. As you can see, having to shift down into second gear into the first corner. I usually take that in third, just to try and get the car slowed down. Come onto the final lap now as well, so very limited time as to when I can make this move. Thinking ahead, planning as to when I think I can make it. Obviously, I'm nowhere near close enough down this straight to make a move down into the hairpin. Hopefully, if he's slow through that right-handed kink, I may be able to get close to him from that left-hander that follows, and then the right-hander after that, and then obviously the right-hander leads into the stadium section. So I need to get a good exit out of here, which I managed to do. Gap's not too far. This is the right-handed kink that he's been struggling. Hopefully he'll struggle again in this one and let me close the gap. It's taken it a lot better, but it seemed to back out ever so slightly as the gap did close. So unfortunately with that, I've gotten a little bit too excited. Braked a little bit later trying to push. I've gone a little bit too deep and I've lost all that time that I just made up. This is where I was thinking of potentially making a move. I could hook up those last two corners, which unfortunately I didn't. I would have tried to make a move down the inside into that right-hander there that we've just been through. There's no real way of getting past this left-hander unless he really struggles on the exit of that right-hander, and I managed to get alongside him. And then the last two corners, very, very difficult again, as you're braking and also turning at the same time. As you can see, not working well with the very low grip levels and just sending me out wide. And then the last corner there, coming over the finish line. So taking fifth. As you can see, only 2 tenths off the fastest, the guy who came in first. So, you know, the AI balance is about right for the difficulty level, and good track and car combination as well adds to that and provides a pretty good race. So hopefully you enjoyed that, showcasing basically what the AI can do in their racing ability with their passing and also their blocking. Some really, really good stuff there by Slightly Mad Studios. Just obviously a few little tweaks here and there that they need to improve upon just to really round off that AI racing experience. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please leave any comments or questions down below, and I shall hopefully see you soon. Take care, guys.